From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show, including Kingdom of Nye Radio and Revolution Radio. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, minus the M tonight, because we got a brand new look, and it's changing over. So if you go to spacedoutradio.com and it ain't working for you, just drop the O or the M in com, and it'll pop right up. I'll explain in just a little bit here. Tonight's show is brought to you by the Mighty Moose Beard Oil Company. It's 100% Canadian, 100% natural, taking care of beards around the world. Visit MightyMooseBeard.com. Don't forget to use promo code SOR2019 today. Big thanks to Jim Mallard from the Mallard Report. Yeah, Duck has taken over from the Gavinator in redoing our website. Gavinator just had too much on his plate. He couldn't do it. So we had the Duck come on in. Duck has done a miraculous job at getting our site going. We now have officially open the SOR store. We call it the Vault around here. We also have the SOR Space Travelers. Yeah, $5 a month. You can get on in there. We got a lot of cool features coming for you in there. It has started off. There's going to be a little bit more. It's a brand new look. It's going to be easier for you guys to navigate. It'll be full on site. There are a few bugs we are working out, but it looks good. It looks really good. Come on the night with us. Go to Spaced Out Radio's website. .co for tonight. It'll be .com. Should be as of tomorrow, because we're right in the process of switching it over to the main domain name. We kick off the new week getting into UFOs and aliens with Danny Silva from the Silva Record. Now, Danny is a part of this new breed of UFO researchers and writers who have come on strong in the last 18 months to try and get great details into what's been going on the disclosure front. Owner and writer of the Silva Record, Danny has been able to uncover some great pieces of UFO news, which has led to his popular rising as a key source of UFO information. His website, silvarecord.com. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, I will bring you the SOR Newswire. Danny Silva, time number 2 for you being on Spaced Out Radio, but we're glad to have you. How you doing, my friend?
What's up, Dave? I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me, my friend.
I am glad to have you here as well. Danny, you know, there may be a lot of people out there who are like, who the heck is this Danny Silva guy? What's he all about? How did you get into UFOs? I just grew up being interested in it, and listening to Coast to Coast, I think, was the big thing that did it for me. And then I was on the sidelines, and then the New York Times story happened, and it activated me, and I've been obsessed since then. And I haven't been the same since, basically. And I've just had to kind of find out everything for myself, any possible leads I could get into. I wanted to know exactly what was going on with ATIP and with To the Stars Academy and everyone else that I thought was credible from then on. It was just a real shock to the system. It is a little bit of a shock to the system. Were you a UFO buff before that, though?
I listened to Coast. That was it for me. I mean, I was into it, and I definitely would bug my friends and family, you know, like a lot of us do with some of these stories. But I wasn't in the UFO community for sure. I was doing a lot of other things, and I just I never even thought really that I would be here where I'm at right now. I never thought I would be, and I never tried to be for many years, and it just kind of happened for me.
So with that in mind, and you starting to write about this, what made you get so passionate about it, though? Was it the fact that you believe there was actually UFOs out there, that there were, you know, potential alien races coming to this planet? Was it because you were a big Blink-182 fan and you wanted to be, you wanted to be running down the streets naked like What's My Age Again in the Blink-182's video there? What's the story there, Danny?
Not a Blink-182 fan. I grew up listening to like hip hop and funk music and stuff like that. Basically, once it was in the New York Times, it was kind of like, it let me know that this stuff was actually real. And I think that's what it did to with a lot of the public. It was basically confirmation happened. We can kind of debate on what that means to everyone, but at that point, I think basically confirmation did happen. I kind of had to start to talk to myself a little bit and just tell myself that this is what I actually wanted, because it was kind of, like I said, a shock to everyone to know that the government had a program, or even has a program going on, that these videos were released that were taken by fighter jets. It just all became super credible. Before that, I believed it, but it wasn't like as credible for me. And it was funny. I saw Art Bell share the story that day, so it was like real fitting. But that basically is what happened for me. And I'm happy to say I think it happened to a lot of the public, not enough of the public, but a lot of the public I think feel the same way, because I'm able to speak to doctors and serious people now, and it's not some like shunned topic anymore. People are taking it seriously, and now we're seeing the big news waves happening.
Okay, so with that, Danny, how did you end up writing about it? How did you end up deciding you wanted to blog about it? You wanted to get your opinion out there. Why did you feel that was important?
I was on Twitter, and I was tweeting my brains out, and people started approaching me, and I never even thought about being a blogger ever, or writing, or doing any of this stuff. I was just really obsessed with getting the knowledge and figuring out what was going on. And some of my friends were starting up a website, and they asked me to take part in that. And even once it started, I wasn't even super motivated to write, and they were kind of like making me write. And then I just started it, and it became like a monster. And that website kind of disbanded, and I started my own, and I haven't stopped from there.
It's really become a passion for you. Did you think it would go this far?
I never thought it would. I never thought I'd be doing what I'm doing. I never thought I'd be on the radio talking to you. I just feel like a lot of this stuff is meant to be, and I'm not even sure about how some of this has happened. It's crazy to me, but it's definitely been a ride, and I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon.
What's been the funnest ride of it?
Just kind of getting some of these answers for myself, I think, probably. Getting more clarity on the subject. Being able to talk to some of these scientists and people that I consider important, and getting them to, tell me what they think. I never thought I'd be talking to this caliber of people. I never thought I'd be able to have what access I have now. Not to say it's a huge amount, but I don't know. And it's opened my eyes up, and I feel like I've gotten some of these answers for myself, and now I'm just really motivated to keep doing it, but also to get the public on board. I think that's a lot of our goal, is to get the public to kind of believe what the UFO community already believes. We need them to do it, and we hope it's going to change the world when it happens, and change the world for the better.
Denny, are you an experiencer, or is this something that you just have a passion about? Because for a lot of people out there who are majorly involved in this research, they have had some sort of experience that led them to this point. Now, you mentioned that, it was nighttime radio with Art Bell that kind of led you down this path, and you kept an eye on it and decided to write about it. But did you ever see a UFO? Did you ever get taken? Did you ever have that close encounter that just absolutely boggled your mind?
Nothing. I've never had anything happen as far as UFOs go. I've never seen one. I'm not an experiencer. I've had some weird stuff happen, but I wouldn't put it in, say it has anything to do with the phenomenon. I think at some points that gives me kind of a disadvantage when I'm talking to some people, and then the other people think that maybe it makes me a little bit more evened out with what I do. But no, I'm not an experiencer at all, and I definitely listen closely when people give me their stories about what happened to them, but nothing like that has ever happened to me.
Is that tough, though, being in this field and trying to see all aspects of it when you're not an experiencer?
It is in some ways, I guess. In other ways, not so much. I have noticed that sometimes experiencers may be able to have more access because other experiencers will trust them more, or other researchers will trust them more if they're experiencers. But generally, it hasn't been too much of a roadblock for me, and I've been able to stay pretty level-headed with it. But I have a lot of friends that have had experiences, and I don't discount it at all, and I think they're all important.
Danny Silva from the Silva Record is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Danny, in one of those areas where you are, not experienced, when you are dealing with people who have, say, had close encounters where they've seen craft very low or on the ground or land, or they have been taken, how do you judge those people? How do you go about listening to their stories with a sense of belief? Because for many who've never had that experience, having any sort of belief in the phenomena is extremely difficult.
I try not to judge them. I try to listen, and I try not to write anyone off. I do kind of put it through the scope of my website sometimes, where I need certain things in order for me to feel like I can report on it. But as far as just listening and believing them, that's easy for me. But we need, certain things in order to take it to the public and get them to be on board with it. But I always tell people they can DM me stories or email me stories, and I'll listen, and I'll listen intently. But we just need more kind of meat on the bone sometimes in order to present it to the public.
What have you enjoyed the most about covering this subject?
I've met a lot of great people, and it's exciting, that's for sure. It kind of feels like all of us in this community live in some other world that the rest of the public doesn't understand. That's fun and frustrating, but it gives us a purpose for what we're doing, and things like that. And I've been pushing myself in places that I never thought I would go. So it's definitely opened up a lot of things for me.
When you say places that you never thought you would go, define that a little bit.
Like I said, I never thought I'd be writing. I never thought I'd be doing radio interviews. I never thought I'd be talking to people that have, government connections or were experiencers or anything like that. And I'm developing some of these tools that I've had throughout my life, and now I'm putting them to good use. I'm trying to just basically contact people and get them to trust me and basically just believe me and know that I'm not going to take advantage of them or burn them if they give me information. I'm going to keep my sources private and et cetera, follow some of those journalistic rules, even though I'm just a citizen journalist, but I still try to stick to a lot of those rules. And,
Well, I think you do a pretty good job out there, dude. I really do. And that's one of the reasons why we approached you as Spaced Out Radio to, if we could use your articles on our SOR Newswire, is because I really enjoy reading what you're getting. I mean, I'll be honest with you. There are times out there where I'm scratching my head saying, how the heck did this guy get this? I mean, you've really been able to dig your claws into this. How have you been able to do that from relative unknown to someone who is getting key sources of information from key people in this game?
Some of that goes along with where I would say I don't even know how I'm doing some of this, and then the rest of it is like it's just me being tenacious, and I'm trying to build up relationships and show people that I'm trustworthy. It's not about just having one great story, and it's about long-term kind of longevity, showing people what you can do, and showing people that you're a trustworthy individual that they could talk to or give information to, and things like that. But and some of it, I don't even know what I'm doing. It's like, this has happened, and I'm working really hard, and I'm definitely obsessed. And I think that's a big part of it, is you just really have to be obsessed and have time to dig into this and be smart and lucky sometimes.
Well, we're going to get into that a little bit more later on in the show, but in regards to yourself, okay, this community, and I say this from personal experience, Dan, this community in ufology and the paranormal in general is very difficult to get into. It's very difficult to get respect from that older crowd that's been around doing this for 10, 20, 30, 40 plus years. Yet here you are one of the new faces of ufology who is really taken the bull by the horns and done your own thing, much at times to the chagrin of people who've been doing this a long time. You've ruffled some feathers. How do you feel about that?
George Knapp said it on your show months ago when he was on, that a lot of us are just bypassing ufology at this point, and that we're not caught up in a lot of this stuff, and we don't have like these ingrained feelings and baggage. It is, I get caught up in some of this, but generally we're new and we're respectful, and and I think some of these longtime scientists and important people and the really important researchers, they realize that, and they don't have a chip on their shoulder where they're not going to talk to us. They're going to talk to us, and they're going to, give us advice and things like that. And the people that really have problems with that, I think that's on them, and that's more of their attitude problem, and maybe that's why they've been having so much trouble over the years.
Well, I mean, there is I know for me, and I'm curious for you, did you get any backlash or ignoring from a lot of the older type researchers out there? Because I know there are certain people who I would love to interview who have not been on this show. I was at a conference in Toronto a couple weeks ago where a couple key people that I wanted to really dig into and talk to and promote Spaced Out Radio to, I got the cold shoulder from them, believe it or not. I mean, it was a fantastic conference. I have nothing bad to say about the conference, the Alien Cosmic Expo in Toronto. Fantastic people run it. However, there were a couple people there where I was literally walking around like, really? You just cold shouldered me, and you don't even have the decency to say hello or whomever. I'm not the type of guy to drop names. But did you get that from the field as well, either via email or Twitter or Facebook type messages?
Yeah, I mean, definitely there isn't. I haven't been able to talk to every single person I've tried to. And some of this, it takes months or years for them to finally talk to you, or it takes one of their illustrious friends to kind of tell them about you in order for them to talk to you. So there is that. At the same time, I haven't approached a ton of UFO people. I generally try to talk to sources of information, and that's a difference to me in my mind, where I'm not trying to interview a lot of UFO people just to interview them. I'd rather interview what I think are sources of information. When I say that, I mean like top scientists or people like that, rather than some of these legends that I'm fans of, but I won't necessarily want to interview them for my site. Yeah, I mean, I've gotten the cold shoulder for sure. But at the same time, I've just been doing my own thing, and I continue to try to hit up some of these people, and there's still a lot more people on my list that I want to talk to, but I haven't been able to.
So with that, how do you feel about that, though, getting that cold shoulder? I mean, on a personal level, never mind on a professional level, but on a personal level, is it kind of like, you know what, I'm going to show you. This is what I am going to do. Like, you don't treat people that way.
You can definitely use it for motivation. I try not to take it personally, and, you just got to get your weight up, basically, and the bigger platform you have, the more these people are going to be approaching you or me or whoever. And so you just got to keep doing your thing and be as successful as possible. And they're going to want to come to you eventually, or some of their important friends are going to start sending them your links and your stories and your radio shows. And it just, once you get the ball rolling, it's like they can't stop it. And eventually they're going to have to talk to you, or maybe they never will. And you just have to focus on other stuff. But I try not to take it too personally, because at the end of the day, basically I'm just like some jerk blogger. But at the same time, some people listen to me, so that could be valuable to certain people. And I also do the thing where, I'm able to talk to people and try to check facts in my story, fact check things. And it must be even harder for you because you're trying to get these whole interviews on the record. And I've encountered that where I'll be able to talk to someone and they'll give me information or they'll help me fact check things, but they won't necessarily want to do a whole interview on the record, even though I'm like asking them to. So that's kind of the one thing I've ran into that could be tough.
Yeah, I found that the same way. To be absolutely blunt, I mean, there's a couple people that have great experience in research that I would love to get on the show. And when they come out and they give you that cold shoulder, kind of like that, who are you? Do you know who I am kind of thing? And I had that in Toronto. I did when I was there from a couple people. And, I remember saying about the one guy, I went to, I think it was Leslie Mitchell Clark. And I said to her, what the F is up this guy's butt? I said, who does he think he is? Right? And this is somebody who I've respected for a long time. I'd never met them before, right? But that's just the way it went. Just the way it went. And the only thing you can really do, and much like what you're doing, is just put your head to the grindstone and carve your own path if nobody's going to help you along.
Yeah, really. I mean, you just got to keep doing it, and your show's getting listened to by more and more people, and you're consistently getting better at what you do. So you just got to keep doing it, and that's what I tell myself. And, I only need a certain amount of people in my corner, and a lot of these other people don't really matter in the long run, I think. And if that's their attitude, then maybe this wasn't meant to be anyways. But eventually they're going to be hearing your show, and they're going to be reading my stuff, and they're going to wish that they had reached out, or maybe they will at that point, and then we can take it from there. But it's definitely an issue, but I'm also pretty new at this, so, I'm not taking it personally if they don't want to talk to me just yet.
Danny Silva is our guest. We only got him for about 90 more seconds before we got to go to break at the bottom of the hour. Danny, in regards to your site, when you first put it up, how many hits were you getting then compared to now on your website, silvarecord.com?
I don't know the exact numbers. It definitely depends on the story. It's kind of weird. Like, sometimes a story will do really well, and then sometimes the story won't do so well. And it depends on the headline I give it, and it depends what people are interested in. Sometimes I'll think I'll have a really interesting story, and it doesn't get as many hits as I think it would, but then I'm getting all these important scientists and stuff emailing me about it, how great it is. But then, like, the general UFO public isn't necessarily interested. They just want to hear about, like, UFOs and things like that. So I don't know. It comes and goes, but I've been steadily growing, that's for sure, and getting kind of my rep up among the people that I care about.
I'm going to get you to hold on right there, Danny, because we are going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. Danny Silva is our guest tonight from Silva Record. If you're into ufology and you want to kind of know what's going on right now and get a good idea, Danny's the guy to go to. silvarecord.com is the website. Make sure you check it on out. We're going to get into UFOs. Let's get into the disclosure. Let's get into the deep stuff. Let's see how many people Danny blocked this week on Twitter. We'll find out right after this on Spaced Out Radio.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Finish off your weekend and kick off your new week with me, Everett Thiemer, right here on Spaced Out Sundays. I'm going to bring you great guests, a little bit of snark, and plenty of information to think about. But don't worry, there's going to be plenty of woo as well. We are going to hit everything in the paranormal and supernatural, including the odd psychic Sundays. So tune us in on Sunday, 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rockin'. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio, you can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacy, head of the Research Association, TESA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you will be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
Move over, brother, and let me own Saturday night. This is Rich Giordano, and I'm inviting you to tune on in to Spaced Out Saturdays starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. Eastern, where I'm going to bust open the lids on everything paranormal. Why? Because we want answers, and I'm the guy who's going to deliver those answers to you. Join the chat rooms, and we'll see you this Saturday. Just be there. No, really.
Hi there, this is Geraldine Orozco from San Francisco's Bay Area Meditation. I invite you to join me the first Tuesday of every month with Dave Scott for Spaced Out Radio's The Spiritual You. In this fast-paced world we live in, it's time for you to take some time for you. We'll cover every possible subject from powerful meditation to healing techniques to your own intuition and spirituality. So come join us for The Spiritual You.
Looking for something new to push your limits? Look Beyond the Spectrum, a new docuseries featuring some of the best researchers in the world when it comes to everything from UFOs, government cover-ups, and Bigfoot in the forest. Truth seekers like Steve Bassett, Dr. Jeff Meldrum, Richard Dolan, as well as others all chip in to bring their knowledge to you. Beyond the Spectrum can be found on Amazon as well as Tubi TV. Tell us what you think on our Amazon page. Welcome back to the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, hanging out with all of you from SOR headquarters. Reminder, we have a brand new look to our website just for tonight because we're in the process of switching our new site over to spacedoutradio.com, which is kind of down right now. Go to spacedoutradio.co. Hey, we have the SOR Space Travelers up and running. We have our brand new store called the SOR Vault up and running. Check out We Read the Night. We're adding authors in there, man, for you guys to be able to pick up a very, very good book from some authors that we love and trust around here. So make sure you support them as well. Just click on the Amazon button, buy the book right there. We got a lot of cool features coming at you. So go check out spacedoutradio.co. Tomorrow it should be back on the .com. And we will be up and running. Tonight we are talking with Danny Silva from the Silva Record. No, he doesn't really block everybody on Twitter. I just kind of threw that little fun shot out at him right there. Danny, I don't apologize for it because I had a good laugh over that, bud. Thanks for coming on.
You're hilarious, man. Thank you for having me.
See, the one thing about Danny that I will say to a lot of people, Danny doesn't understand my Canadian humor. So there's a lot of stuff that I will throw at Danny, and it will be like, I'll get a message. What does that mean? And I'll be like, I'm laughing. How do you not find that funny?
Hey, I watch Letterkenny all the time. I understand Canadian humor. That sounds great.
Oh, you need to be born here to get it. You know, we're a whacked out bunch on this side of the 49th parallel. Danny, I want to get into UFOs with you because we know you have an interest in it. We know that you are someone who is very passionate about writing it on the silverrecord.com. So we plug your site there again. You come from the field of ufology at a different side of everything. You are more of somebody who writes about the pros and the experiences brought on by the To the Stars Academy. Why have you decided to go down that road?
Well, I mean, that's what kind of activated me in the first place when that story came out. And, you know, to put it bluntly, that's been the most important thing going. You know, I tell people I don't only write about them. I've written about other things I think are important. I wrote an article about Chris Bledsoe, the experiencer. But, you know, unfortunately, a lot of these important people that are making moves are doing it behind the scenes. And To the Stars Academy is doing it out there in front of the public. That's probably why they're getting the most shots from people, too. But, you know, if there's other stuff, I'm going to be writing about it as well. I'm basically anyone that's moving the ball down the field and trying to enact disclosure and get the public on board. That's what I'm going to be writing about. But right now it happens to be To the Stars is doing the most. And I don't think anyone can even debate that, really. I mean, that's been the major story over the last 2 years. But, you know, I'm going to be covering Valet and Dr. Gary Nolan. I try to cover her. It's on my radar big time, like Diana Pasolka and what she does. Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp, I cover them. And but just anyone I think that's moving the ball down the field. But, you know, if people don't want to be hearing a lot of these To the Stars stories, you know, they should do something about it or you know, get someone else to make some moves in the public eye that I can write about. And I'll be doing that for sure.
With that, what has really made you believe that the To the Stars Academy has taken the proper road on this? Because you and I, we have publicly debated over this. You know, we've seen Chrisomania happen a number of times with some of your supporters, and that's all good and come down on me and other people like it who don't seem to be on sides, shall we say. in full support of TTSA. Why have you jumped on that bandwagon and really pushed what they are doing? Like, what have you found important?
You know, they got the ATIP revelations out. They got the videos out. They're just doing the most in the public eye. They got the Navy to make these declarations, basically, with the edited guidelines. They got all these military experiencers to speak. They got the New York Times involved. They got the mass media involved. So that's what's going on. I think they're trying their best. I don't want to say believe or trust or anything like that. I think believing and trusting, that's probably, too strong of words, but they're the ones that are doing it and doing it really well. They make mistakes, sure, but they're just doing the most, and they've put themselves out there to be criticized. Whereas a lot of these people are doing really important work, but it's behind the scenes and they're not necessarily sharing it with the public. So I just hope we get more important research and important people doing things out there in the public eye, because at the end of the day, that's the most important thing for me, is getting the public on board. Not everybody agrees with that. Some people think, we don't need the public. It doesn't matter because we already know what we know. And I see that side of it too. But, I kind of look at myself and some of my friends, we feel like we're activists kind of, and we want the world changed. We don't want to just know what we know in the UFO community. We want the whole world to be on board with it. And whether that means there's tech out in the world helping people, or it just means that people know that there's other things going on that they don't understand, and maybe we shouldn't all be fighting each other as humans as much because there's a bigger picture or something like that. But that's my goal, is to get the public on board.
I do believe that there is a bigger picture. I really do. I think there's more to this topic, and that's why we as a show here have never really let it die, much to the chagrin of some of our listeners, especially on Twitter. But nonetheless, I think it's an important topic that whether you support TTSA or whether you don't, that it's a topic that we need to continually discuss, because there is a huge paradigm effect and potentially a massive new reality of what is coming when it comes to UFOs and potentially extraterrestrials. That being said, with all of that, there's a lot of people out there, whether they are experiencers, Danny, whether they are longtime researchers, or just like you, fanatics of the, and have much intrigue on the scene of UFOs, that believe that the To the Stars Academy has done more to fray the relationship with the field of ufology than actually help it. What is your opinion of that?
I find it unfortunate. I mean, we just got to look at the big picture, and we got to look at facts. I don't know specifically what you mean by fraying. You mean like people arguing, probably?
Yeah, I think it's pretty easy to say that they have caused a very big divide within the UFO community. We've talked to Grant Cameron about that, Richard Dolan. We've talked to a number of people about that.
There is a divide. There's a huge divide, but then, I look back on things too, and I see like there's always been like these big divides and big scandals. You can look at Rendlesham, and like everybody hates each other, and like Roswell, everyone was arguing about it. All that, all this other kind of thing from history, the history of ufology, and I don't know, pretty cutthroat, and a lot of people kind of going at each other and arguing about things. Now, on top of that, we have the internet where you can blast off a tweet in 10 seconds instead of actually seeing somebody face to face, where you gotta knuckle up or do whatever you gotta do, and that's even worse now because you're on the internet doing it behind the keyboard. So it's unfortunate. I don't think To the Stars is necessarily to blame for this big divide. I think it's the UFO community. I think it's just people in general. You can look at sports or politics for sure. You could look at politics and you see this happening. It's not just in UFOs. And it's unfortunate, and I think it's kind of the culture right now because of the internet and smartphones that people just blast off. And a lot of this stuff, it happens only online, right? I mean, I don't think you see a lot of this stuff one-on-one in person. I mean, you go to these conferences, I don't know how much actual arguing there is. People are probably pretty civil to each other, but when you're online, it just kind of brings it out of everyone, and it's real unfortunate. And we got to fall back and not act like this, and myself included, and we just got to be setting better examples for everyone, I think, as far as arguing. But if you notice, my website, I don't write stories to tear down other people. I might get into social media battles every once in a while, get dragged into them, and then feel bad about it afterwards. But I'm not writing articles about other people, how bad they are. I'm only writing articles about people I want to support and people that I think are doing good. And I think more people should kind of do that. I'm seeing UFO blogs everywhere. They're writing about me, like other blogs, or they're writing about, obviously, To the Stars or anyone else. They're writing about George Knapp, and it's crazy to me. Like, why don't they cover UFO stories? Instead, they're covering, like, other reporters. It doesn't make sense.
They're not journalists, man. They're not journalists. That's why. I'll answer that. I have no problem saying that. I got into it tonight with one on Twitter. It's okay. I mean... That's your big thing that you do, and that's kind of your cross to bear, and I understand it. I try to stay out of that kind of thing, but I know that's some of your big points that you make, yeah. And I understand it. I do. But, I call myself a citizen journalist. George Knapp called me that, and it's fine with me. And maybe one day I'll get to call myself an ultra journalist. I don't know. But at this point, I'm just a citizen journalist, a.k.a. a jerk blogger. But I'm able to dig. I can dig for some of these stories. And what happens when the bloggers are breaking more stories than some of these mainstream journalists? I don't know. Speaking of mainstream journalists. Yeah.
Speaking of mainstream journalists, like, some of these guys are contacting me now. They're telling me they're fans and they're reading my stuff.
Absolutely.
That definitely
That's because you're doing good work. Yeah. It's because you're doing good work, and good work needs to be recognized. All right? Good work needs to be recognized, whether it's you, whether it's John Greenwald, whether it's what we do on this show, or whether, it's a YouTuber outside of certain channels that post fake stuff. Right? I mean, there's a lot of good work being done out there, and I think everybody's trying to get the message to where everything needs to go. And I think what has happened here, Danny, is people like you, and I mean this with all due respect, people like you are working the angles at a different level than other people have seen in years. Okay? We're not used to it. We're not used to that type, or this community. I shouldn't say we're, because I haven't been a part of this community that long. I think a lot of the community is not used to that type of aggressiveness in tracking down stories. Okay, like, you will email somebody and they'll say, well, how did you get this story? Well, I contacted them, or something along those lines. It's not that hard. It's whether or not the person responds. Would you agree?
Yeah, in a lot of cases. I mean, you get a tip and you want to follow it, or it just depends, specifically on the story. Each of them kind of have their own trajectory and how it happened on some of my different blogs. We can go into details on individual blogs if you want, but and it's about being tenacious, and like I said earlier, sometimes it's about being lucky, but you just want to be in that position, and you don't want to quit, and you don't want to stop, and at the same time, you want to respect people and respect their boundaries. But, I bug the heck out of a lot of people, too. I know I do, and I apologize to them that I'm bugging them all the time, but I'm trying to get the story right, and I'm trying to get information, and I'm not going to stop until I figure it out.
So for people who are not supporting, and I'll be honest with you, all right, I have always told our audience this message, and that is, take your time to see. Come up with your own decision. Because at the time when the TTSA was announced, there was a lot of people jumping on the bandwagon, and there were a lot of people who were getting very, very excited. There were a few hosts out there who were telling their listeners that they were stupid not to go and buy TTSA stock. I told our listeners something different. I said to them, you know what, let's just wait and see. Let's see what goes on. Let's see what plays out of this. This is after the New York Times article. And I will agree with you on a couple of things, and I have been very open about this recently, that I think they've done a good job because they got rid of the X-Files theme song and the laughter at the back end of a news story. They got rid of that back page filler column in the newspaper. They brought it to the forefront, which all of us have always wished. Do you think a lot of what is happening in the UFO front with researchers and a lot of the hate that the TTSA is taking is because people who've been doing this a long time are jealous that they have never been able to get to that point, get to that front page news story?
It must be. I mean, it has to play into it. I'm sure there's a lot of different factors. But yeah, I mean, people have spent their life at this, and you know, they're incredibly salty at what's going on. And but you know, if their heart was really in the right place, they would be supporting any forward movement. You know, people don't have to be supporters of To the Stars. That's fine. I think, and they can be critical of To the Stars. That's okay too. They can debate and things like that, but they have to do it respectfully. And there's a point where the debating becomes just too much, and the armchair quarterback stuff, it becomes too much. It's exactly like sports. Everyone thinks they could play the game or coach the game better. That's watching it on TV better than the athletes or the actual coaches. And I see a lot of that going on. These people on Twitter and social media, they're not in D.C., you know, talking to politicians. They're not out there doing interviews, or et cetera, et cetera. And, you know, at some point, it doesn't help things. But at the same time, I tell everyone they should just do what they do. And you know what? At the end of the day, I don't know how much it matters whether the UFO community, the online UFO community, supports To the Stars or not. Unless I am seeing some of these stories bleed now into the mainstream media. So that's a big deal, and that's affecting the world if you get stories picked up. And that's what I hope to do. And that's why I get happy when mainstream reporters contact me. But other than that, it's just a lot of online talk. And you know, I see some of my idols, they're starting to not even talk to people online. Like, they'll post something and then they don't even look at the comments. I'm not there. I want to interact with people, and I want to talk to my fans, and I'm not important enough where I can just totally disregard social media. But I see why people do it. And eventually it becomes not worth your time to just kind of like battle social media trolls. It's crazy. But maybe in 10 years or something, I'll stop commenting totally on social media. But until then, I'm going to be kind of down here in the trenches. And but don't support them, and be critical, and wait. And the fact of the matter is, To the Stars has made mistakes, but you know, they haven't done anything that's like been some big deal breaker. And until that happens, I don't understand why everyone's so upset. You know, they're blaming To the Stars for the CIA's mistakes in the 70s, you know, or something like this. And it's just unrelated. And until there's this deal breaker, I think people should be happy. And if their heart was really in the right place, like I said, they'd be happy that this stuff is in the news, and they'd be happy that we know about the Nimitz encounters, and we know about the gimbal. I mean, and we're hearing these pilots come forward. Like, this is a big deal, and it's changing everything now.
Do you think the mainstream is starting to catch on, though, as much as we think they might be? I realize that there are reporters, whether it's Tucker Carlson, Anderson Cooper, the New York Times, or whomever, you know, Brian, what's his name? All of a sudden his name went blank from Politico. Brian Bowden,
Brian Bender. Yeah, Brian Bender's a great guy.
You know, I mean, we look at a lot of these stories now, and we see a lot of people, and there are mainstream journalists covering it. I know George Knapp has said that his newsroom wants him to start covering more of these stories because they are noticing major ratings boosts when they do this type of story. And a lot of people are starting to catch on to this. But do you think, even though it's getting reported, that the mainstream public is catching on?
They're catching on, sure. They're nowhere near where we want them to be. Of course, they're nowhere near it. But we're chipping away at it. To the Stars is chipping away at it. Every time you see a politician like Mark Walker or Mark Warner, both of those guys, or any of these other politicians, you know, more and more of the media is going to start having to report on it, whether they want to or not, because that's what the politicians are interested in. So that's why it's so important what goes on in D.C., because it's affecting things. And, you know, the New York Times, when they're jumping in, all these other newspapers are getting caught, and they have to start reporting on it. And we're seeing a lot of bad information come out because they don't eat it and sleep it like we do, and they're kind of like jumping in and kind of like regurgitating certain stories. But at the same time, it's cool and it's still promotion, and that's going on. But maybe ideally some of these major media outlets are going to have to hire a UFO guy, or I don't know, and start to really take this seriously rather than just kind of do one story a month or something even. But whatever happens, it's positive movement now, and I don't see it turning back.
I don't see it turning back either, but I mean, there's still a lot of people out there, even reading the comments in our chat rooms and on Twitter tonight, that there's a lot of people who have a lot of concerns expressed. Are those concerns valid? And we'll get into them. We only got about 2 minutes here before we got to go to break, 2.5 minutes before we got to go to break, and we'll get into some of those concerns, after the break. But are the concerns valid of the people? You see them every day. You engage people on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram about it?
Some of them are, and some of them is just real armchair quarterback, and it's not. But be concerned. It's fine. Have your opinions and kind of wait and see. And when To the Stars burns us some horrible way, I'll report on it. But until then, I'm going to be reporting on them, and they're going to be doing their thing, and they're not paying attention to what people are saying on Twitter and what people are saying on Facebook. And it's unfortunate that people get so upset and so distrustful, but actually I shouldn't have said that. I don't even want to say trust. So they don't need to trust them, but they just need to wait and see. And in the meantime, if they just want to blast off angry tweets, that's how they want to spend their day, they can. But this thing is going, and it's not going to stop anytime soon. And I think that's a good thing, and everyone should be rooting for that. And that's what kind of gets me sometimes, is how could they be rooting against forward progress?
Well, and I agree. There has been a lot of forward progress. However, when you exclude an entire community who has, listened to this, the UFO community, even though the TTSA has come out and said they're not about that, really has not given two cares for the people who are experiencing it or have been researching it for a long time. And I think there's a lot of people offended by that.
I think there's going to be more involvement with experiencers. I think that you're going to see that going forward. I'm like everyone else, and I want all the information right now. But the thing is, do we want it all right now and just to satisfy our curiosity, or do we want to actually accomplish this goal of getting the world involved and getting the world on board? Because that means we have to be very careful about what we're doing, or To the Stars will be very careful what they're doing, and they can't just blast everything out to make the UFO community understand. Right now, they're playing the long game, and they have to do it to make people understand. They can't just jump out and tell everyone that there's aliens right away. I mean, no one's going to believe them.
Why not?
Because people are going to want evidence. I mean, they'll want evidence for it. And
so and I'm going to cut you off there as an experiencer. All right. The evidence is already there. See, this is part of the problem that people have. If you're an experiencer, you already know that the information is there. Danny, we're going to get into that. I think that's an important topic we get into when we come back. And I apologize for not giving you your voice on that. But we'll be back here on Spaced Out Radio, hour number 2. Danny Silva from the Silva Record. SilvaRecord.com is his website. More UFO talk right after this. Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
We're bringing you something new to the documentary world. Beyond the Spectrum will take you on an historic tour of topics like no other. Sasquatch, UFOs, government secrecy, and more, keeping you on the edge of your seats through the eyes of legendary truth seekers like Steve Bassett, Richard Dolan, Dr. Jeff Meldrum, and Jack Kasher. Head on over to Amazon Prime or Tubi TV and check us out. Please leave a comment for the filmmakers on their film's Amazon page.
Hi, this is Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we store all of the SOR show archives for free. And as an added bonus, every 2 weeks I'm posting brand new content on Cryptid Tales, where I will get into some of the spookier legends and folklore from around the world and tell the stories that go with them. Find us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio and check out Cryptid Tales today. Drop a comment and let me know what you want to hear. See you there.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacy, head of the Research Association, TESA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
Come hang out with Spaced Out Radio, where we own the night. This is Carl. You can follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, and during the show, use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio to chat with us live. On Instagram, at Dave Scott SOR. On Facebook, give our page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. SOR archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. Come join us, or I will come join you. See you at your window.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Move over, brother, and let me own Saturday night. This is Rich Giordano, and I'm inviting you to tune on in to Spaced Out Saturdays starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. Eastern, where I'm going to bust open the lids on everything paranormal. Why? Because we want answers, and I'm the guy who's going to deliver those answers to you. Join the chat rooms, and we'll see you this Saturday. Just be there. No, really.
We are getting ready to relaunch the SOR Space Travelers Club at spacedoutradio.com. For $5 a month, you can join us for a plethora of features found nowhere else. Hang out in a private chat room during the show and after party. You can check out some exclusive content and a store specifically for you, as well as a private listener forum where you can post your thoughts, stories, and pictures. The SOR Space Travelers Club, coming soon to spacedoutradio.com.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot THAL. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother is Watching.
A little bit of science, a little bit of skepticism. Add a dash of snark and you have the makings of Spaced Out Sundays with me, Everett Themer. Together we will look into the reality of the paranormal with an open eye and rational thought. Oh, did I mention there'll be plenty of woo as well? Your time spent with Spaced Out Sundays will make the night even better. The chat rooms are open, 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Hour 2 of Spaced Out Radio is underway tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for being with us. We want to say hello to Chuck and everyone at KZFX 93.7 FM in Ridgecrest, California. KDUN AM 1030 in Reedsport, Oregon. WQEE 99.1 FM in Newnan, Georgia. UPRN 107.7 FM in New Orleans and down in Dangerfield, Texas. KDNF AM 1560. On the digital side, we're proud to broadcast on Revolution Radio and Kingdom of Nye Radio. Thank you, Bart L. And don't forget, you can check out all of our archives for free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Alexthanos. Alexthanos is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, has a brand new look. If you're trying the .com tonight, it's not going to work. You got to go to .co. Tomorrow night, the .com should work. But guess what? We finally have the SOR Space Travelers Club. Best $5 a month you're going to spend. And you're not just getting archives. Those are free. You can shop at our SOR Vault store. We got some brand new t-shirts and swag up there, so make sure you go check that out. Read up on Captain Shirk's Newswire, and We Read the Night. Yeah, we got some good authors up there. We're going to be getting more as we go on, but hey, we want to put some good books up there, support some good people. You can click on the Amazon link right there and get it right on our site, so make sure you go do that. We would appreciate that. Danny Silva is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. He is from silvarecord.com. He's a blogger, writer, researcher. He's done a pretty damn good job at bringing a lot of UFO news to the forefront. Danny, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, amigo.
Now, right before the break, we were talking about the experiencers, and a lot of people are having troubles trying to figure out where they stand in regards to the To the Stars Academy and the message that they are bringing, because they are really trying to segregate UFOs from aliens, which we have seen, or pardon me, UAPs and aliens, not the same thing, according to them. And they've really seemed, to a lot of people, to have not really delved into the subject of the experience and the experiencer right off the bat. Now, you say it's coming, but the experiencer, those who maybe get taken once, twice, 3 times a month, if not more, they're wondering what the heck is going on, Danny.
Well, first off, I mean, if you read the To the Stars books, it's there. The Gods, Man of War, Gods is the part 1, 2 is Man. The experiencer stuff is in both of those. Now, as far as bringing it on Fox News or to the politicians, they've probably left some of that out because they need to get these guys on board. And again, the UFO community already believes this stuff. We already know what's going on. The mission is to get the public involved and get the world to know. And it can't be blasted out there too soon for the public. I wish it could, but, it has to be palatable for them. But I think, I don't have any inside information, but I think some of the experiencer stuff will start to come out more so, and some of this other things. Maybe, I don't know if alien would be the right word if you want to call them the others, but I think more of that will be probably getting brought up and maybe in the TV shows in coming seasons.
Why do it that way? Why not just do it the way we are? Because I think what a lot of people get upset with is Tom DeLonge. I don't think they're upset with Lou Elizondo. I don't think they're upset with Hal Puthoff, Jim Semivan, Chris Mellon, or anybody like that. I think they're put off by Tom. Tom's polarizing, man.
You mean the experiencers?
The experiencers and UFO people in general.
Well, Tom talks about the experiencers more than the rest of To the Stars does. He's gone a lot farther, especially in previous interviews. It's the rest of the guys that kind of take it slower and are waiting for evidence or waiting for hard evidence in order to present it to the public. It's kind of a double-edged sword. People will say, well, tell us what you're about to do. And then they'll tease stuff and they'll be like, well, why are you teasing us? And people will scream at the government and be like, tell us what's going on. And then Lou Elizondo comes out and says that there's a program, and they say, well, we don't trust you because you're from the government. And it's like they can't have it both ways. I don't know. No one, it seems like a lot of people aren't happy either way, whatever happens. But, they're going to keep going, and they're going to keep doing this, and it's been working. So I would tell people in the UFO community, we already know what's going on, but let them do their thing and try to convince the rest of the world, because that's the ultimate goal. That way we're not ostracized and we have to stay only in the UFO community all the time. That way we'll be able to talk to our family and friends that don't necessarily believe it. They'll be able to see stories in mainstream media, and they'll even maybe have politicians involved. But it can't be too soon, too quick. It has to be hard evidence, and it can't be opinions at all. A lot of the experiencer stories are amazing, but we need hard evidence in order to get the public on board. And that's the problem I think a lot of people in the media face. We need this hard evidence. It can't be just one person saying what happened. It has to be more than that, and that's why the military witnesses are more important with the radar and all this kind of thing in video.
No, I understand that, and I understand and appreciate where you're coming from. I think where a lot of people are getting frustrated, and I hear it a lot here, is the tweets that start off with "What if." What if I told you? Or the tweets that he throws up there and an hour later they are gone. They've been removed. That is troublesome for a lot of people, not just researchers, but those who want to buy in but just can't.
I'm not sure why the tweets get deleted. I'll delete a tweet every now and again, but he does it a lot where it seems like it's on purpose. I've never found out why that happens. Sometimes there's like really crazy information, hot takes in those tweets that he deletes, and we screenshot them and they end up on my blog or somewhere else anyway. So the information is still getting out there. So, but I don't know what is all behind that specifically. But I would say if you don't like what he's tweeting, unfollow him, and then you won't be frustrated anymore. And then you can just watch the Unidentified show, where you can watch the other media stories that come out. And if you're getting frustrated by Tom, delete him on Instagram.
But when he's the mouthpiece of it, and I mean that with all due respect, he's the face of the organization outside of Lou Elizondo, it's kind of hard to take him off your follow list.
Gotcha. I understand that too. Yeah, Lou and Elizondo and Tom, they have pretty different approaches when you look at how they speak to the world. And it's kind of cool, actually. If you're too frustrated with Tom, you can go and listen to Lou, and it's a lot more grounded, I think. as far as evidence-based and stuff like that. I like Tom's stuff, and I understand that I think he's just getting excited a lot of times, and he wants to tell the world everything. And these other guys are more pragmatic, and they have to be very careful, and they have to be, wary of PR and things like this. And Tom is over here just being an excited rock star. And I think that happens. I get excited. I've been in that trap a couple times. And I've gotten burned where I don't want to tease my blogs unless they're coming out like in the next couple hours or the next day. I don't usually tease a blog. But I like the teases from Tom. It gives me something to think about, maybe what's going on. At the same time, I understand why it frustrates people. But even some of these To the Star supporters get a little frustrated with it sometimes. But, in the scheme of things, To the Stars, it's only been 2 years. Like, in 10 years from now, imagine people being like, hey, well, they didn't do that. They teased and they waited a couple months before they teased it. Like 10 years from now, that's not going to matter. The facts are going to matter, and what they came out with is going to matter. So I understand it could be frustrating, but everyone wants instant gratification, and unfortunately it's just not like that. And it's about getting the job done and not the curiosity of the UFO community. We've seen that with some of these documents. People want all these leaked documents, and it's like they're not changing a whole lot. Like, they're not causing disclosure. All they're doing is getting people in trouble, and then eventually it's quenching some of the curiosity of the UFO community, but it's not affecting the public. So, what good is it doing overall? It's giving us clues, but if it isn't affecting the public, then, that I don't know if it's worth it.
To the experiencer, it is. To those who have spent 40 years in the community, it is. Right? Because, I go back in history. Okay, let's take a step back here. And if you look at the To the Stars Academy, right from the beginning with the pressless press conference on October 11th, 2017, that for a lot of people has been part of the game that has been played. And you and I have debated on Twitter numerous times about the media narrative. I believe there is one. You are not so sure. And I'm okay with that. We're allowed to think differently on that, unless it's Chrisomania. And it's one of those things, man, where there is a lot of red flags that not only myself, but a lot of people, and I will include my very brilliant listeners on that have said to me, Dave, what is going on with this group? Why are they doing this? Why are they not very forthright? Yet you tend to sway the other way, saying they are being very forthright, but they just can't give out all their eggs or, crack all their eggs in one basket.
Yeah. First off, I got to mention the Chrisomania thing. You keep saying it. Chris is my friend. I think there's a lot of people that are much more vocal and crazy than my guy Chris. So I just got to get that out of the way.
He's awesome.
Some of them appear on the show on a regular basis. You got some characters on the show too that come on a regular basis that I think are worse than Chris.
Of course we do.
So I'll put that aside though. But and then what was the question about To the Stars? I'm sorry.
Just in regards to Chrisomania. No, I'm kidding. In regards to the whole idea of that there are a lot of people out there who believe that there has been some wool pulled over their eyes and some games that have been played by TTSA.
As far as the experiencer perspective.
As far as the experiencer or even the knowledge. Even the knowledge, holding a pressless press conference.
I guess should be happy because they're bringing this to the world. And we're not going to be ostracized into the UFO community, hopefully. The experiencers won't be anymore. And their family and friends that don't believe them, they'll eventually, hopefully, believe them. That's the goal. So experiencers should be happy about that. And they're going to be part of the narrative, quote unquote, I think more and more moving forward. But you can't bring an experiencer story to some politician. Like, you have to focus on facts. You have to focus on like military and things like that. Like hard things that you can prove rather than, the experiencer stories. But I feel for the experiencers and they need answers. But, I'm not sure if, all this pressure is on To the Stars because they're in the public. But like maybe it isn't their job to make everything better for everyone. I mean, they're trying their best to do it, but I feel for the experiencers, and I think hopefully that eventually it's going to get better for them. I mean, I don't know, but as far as the narrative of To the Stars, I think they're generally helping. I mean, it's a good thing. I can talk to people in my regular day life now, and that see this stuff on Fox. I mean, it's unprecedented.
Well, I'm not saying that they haven't done a good job. Okay, let's clarify this, because I have been vilified many a times on Twitter with words put in my mouth about that. And Mike, you know who you are, Mike, and I know you're listening right now. But nonetheless, in regards to that, okay, there is a lot of people out there where if you express any concern or question, that they're not part of the support, and that we should blindly follow this group. There is a calculated effort to do that on certain members' parts of the UFO community. That's not right either, though.
Right. I mean, everyone can ask questions. You know, it can get frustrating. I think a lot of this stuff is contained online because it's the nature of the internet right now, unfortunately. And like I said, I don't think a lot of this would be happening face to face. But, you know, there's a lot of arguing going on, sure. But we got to, I don't know. I mean, quit the arguing for one thing, but debating is fine, and believing. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Danny, let me put it this way then. Let me rephrase that question, because I don't want it to turn into a spat of he said, she said, because you and I could get into that very easily, and I don't want this to go down that road, because I think it's petty and maybe even a little bit childish, and I would include myself on that, probably as a major player and the host of this. But in regards to the whole idea of it, let me rephrase the question and ask it this way. Those who are not supporting the To the Stars Academy and what they have done or accomplished up to this point, in your opinion, what are those people missing? What are those members of the UFO media or the UFO researchers or the experiencers missing in that?
I think it's a lot of the issues that you brought up. I mean, it could be jealousy that they haven't been able to accomplish it, and then To the Stars kind of came out of nowhere and has done so much. But I'm not sure. I honestly do wonder if maybe their heart isn't in the right place, because and disclosure isn't what they want. But I know a lot of people are really, really nervous about the government angle, and I think that's okay. You know, you can be nervous about the CIA being involved or not involved, depending on who you talk to, or the DOD or other people coming from the government. But, you know, when you look at the big picture, we need these government people to be talking, and we need these military people to be talking in order for the public to believe it. So it's definitely a double-edged sword. But I don't blame To the Stars or Tom for getting these government guys on board. But, I mean, that's one of the criticisms, and I understand people being wary of government involvement. You know, what are some of the other things that people complain about the most?
Well, I don't think a lot of people are thinking that the TTSA is being as forthright as they probably should.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair too, although I don't agree with it. I think they're putting everything out there that they can. You know, these guys have NDAs, and they're doing a lot. And, you know, when Tom blasts off tweets and he just speaks his mind, people criticize him for it. So it's not like they're not getting any of that. A lot of that is you get it from Tom. And you're telling me that that's annoying too, which I get. But I don't know. It's like everyone wants it both ways. And I don't really understand it, but, you know, I think To the Stars is definitely putting out everything they can and as quick as they can, and they have a long-term goal of bringing this to the world, and anything short of that, you know, it's just not a good idea to do it. I'm sure season 2 of the show will be different than season 1. I think that they'll go farther, and they were just kind of getting their feet wet in season 1, so that'd be good. But there's a lot of stuff going on in D.C. and some of these other places that they're working hard, and they're trying their best. And I would really tell people that are really... Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, sorry.
I would just tell people to, you know, they can do stuff on their own. Like, they can dig into stuff. They can be doing these FOIAs, which are cool, and they can hit up some of these scientists that know what's going on, but they don't want to share it with the world, and maybe they should start pressing them because, like I said, To the Stars is doing it publicly. So they're getting the most shots.
But when you, Danny, are sitting there, and I'm not saying you personally, let's go with Tom DeLong, who tweets out that in episode 6 they're going to show a video of a UFO shooting down an Italian military helicopter, and that doesn't happen. That's where people lose faith.
Did he say video? I'm not sure if he said video, but he alluded to that. And then they brought up that the Italian copter thing. They had photos of it. A lot of the UFO community didn't necessarily buy it or like it, but they did do that, and it got a lot of criticism. The Italian stuff. I don't know what to say. They were trying their best with it, and maybe they knew some things behind the scenes that they couldn't say. But there was a photo of the UFOs with the helicopter, at least, and that's what he alluded to, and that happened in episode 6.
Well, I think when he alluded to the fact that it was shot down, that whether you're trying to play for ratings or not, or whether there is something more, you show it. And he said that it was going to be shown, but I mean, we can debate that all night long, whether it's semantics or not. But when people see that, who are non-supporters or on the fence with things, wanting to believe but still are not sure, that's where the people's trust is kind of lost on it. And it's little situations like that. Let's move on here in regards to the fact that another thing that a lot of people are not trusting about this group is the fact that numerous members are ex-spooks. They're CIA. They all have ties to, the majority of them have ties to Robert Bigelow, who's been extremely secretive. And boy, I mean, would I love to see what Robert Bigelow knows. That is 100% for sure. I think any of us would. But I mean, when they look at it, they like, well, Bigelow's been doing this for 30 years with the same people. What makes it different this time?
Right. Back to the helicopter real quick. There was photos of damage to the helicopter. There wasn't a picture of like a beam hitting it, but then there was photos for damage. So that's where they got the shoot down. Like I was saying, it is a double-edged sword with the government guys being involved. I feel like we need that for the public to be on board, but at the same time, the UFO community and others think that that's cause to not trust them. So I get both sides of it. I think, until there's a deal breaker, we should be happy about what they're doing. And, but, the CIA and these other intelligence agencies, they haven't always been honest, obviously, throughout the history of time, but I'm not so sure if TTSA should be blamed for that.
Okay. Well, let me bring up another concern, because we only have about a minute and a half here before we got to go to break, or about a minute, in regards to the fact that Tom said that he handpicked this team. How do you handpick a team that's already picked by Bigelow?
I don't know that anyone was picked by Bigelow. Now, some of it, Tom also said, was picked by government people. So, there's that. We would really have to dig into the quotes and take them apart. But I don't know that this team was picked by Bigelow. Not everyone on To the Stars was affiliated with Bigelow. There is some people that have been, for sure. But not everyone has. Semi-Van is one of them. But, there's a lot of different quotes, and there's been a lot of blogs written about it. I try to quote stuff. There's been some other really good people reporting on this stuff, but there's a lot of history of quotes to take apart, and some of this is fuzzy on exactly what happened to get this thing started, but it seemed like Tom just really had a good idea, and he was able to get a lot of people on board. Some people think it was nefarious and that the government took over and that kind of thing. But, I guess until something horrible happens, we're not going to know for sure that it will. But until then, I think we should be happy with the progress. And I think Tom has done a great job. And if it wasn't for him,
let me cut you off right there. We're going to go to break here. Danny Silva, Silva Record. We continue right after this.
We're bringing scientific thought to the paranormal. Hi there, this is Spaced Out Radio scientist Chris Cogswell. Join me, Chris Zuger, and Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month, where we break down the who from the woo when it comes to everything paranormal. We'll investigate and try to bring sensible answers to those straight and sometimes outlandish questions people have. Hey, not everything has an answer, but we'll do our best. Listen in to Reality Paranormal only on Spaced Out Radio.
Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Move over, brother, and let me own Saturday night. This is Rich Giordano, and I'm inviting you to tune on in to Spaced Out Saturdays starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. Eastern, where I'm going to bust open the lids on everything paranormal. Why? Because we want answers, and I'm the guy who's going to deliver those answers to you. Join the chat rooms, and we'll see you this Saturday. Just be there. No, really.
We're bringing you something new to the documentary world. Beyond the Spectrum will take you on an historic tour of topics like no other. Sasquatch, UFOs, government secrecy, and more, keeping you on the edge of your seats through the eyes of legendary truth seekers like Steve Bassett, Richard Dolan, Dr. Jeff Meldrum, and Jack Kasher. Head on over to Amazon Prime or Tubi TV and check us out. Please leave a comment for the filmmakers on their film's Amazon page.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio, and while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Hey, this is Canadian Paranormal Investigator Mike Moore. The third Wednesday of every month, I'll be teaming up with Dave Scott to bring you Ghosts of the Great White North. Each month, we will bring on guests from across Canada to discuss their ghostly encounters. Canada is a paranormal hotbed with stories you've never heard, so we're going to bring them to you. So get comfy on your Chesterfield, grab a donut, and join us, eh?
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio, you can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Finish off your weekend and kick off your new week with me, Everett Themer, right here on Spaced Out Sundays. I'm going to bring you great guests, a little bit of snark, and plenty of information to think about. But don't worry, there's going to be plenty of woo as well. We are going to hit everything in the paranormal and supernatural, including the odd psychic Sundays. So tune us in on Sunday, 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know little brother is watching.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio. We passed the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Thank you so much for joining us. Hey, I want to remind all of you, our website, spacedoutradio.com. Until tomorrow, we'll be down. It is spacedoutradio.co. If you want to try that out, we've got a brand new look. And hey, on our brand new website, you can officially join the SOR Space Travelers Club. You can go shopping at our SOR Vault store. We got some great new T-shirts in there, great designs. Highly suggest you check them on out. And we've got an authors page where you can go right there, click on a great author that we have put our name behind, and you can go get their book right there on the Amazon. Just click Amazon. It's right there. Click on it. Just do it. But tomorrow night, the show should be back at spacedoutradio.com, as we are currently flipping over the new site to our domain name, so we apologize for any inconvenience. And I want to remind all of you, too, you can find all of our archives for free at youtube.com/spacedoutradio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. All right, Danny Silva from the Silva Record. We're talking TTSA. We're talking UFOs, disclosure, everything. The man with one amazing mullet, Danny Silva, back on the show tonight. Danny, how do you keep those curls back there?
You know, when I was a kid, I saw Big Trouble in Little China. It's my favorite movie ever. And since then, I always wanted to be Jack Burton, so I grew this mullet out. Just kidding. I don't have a mullet, world.
Oh, you do. You do. You can't pack a mullet that bad and then deny it, my friend. You just cannot do that. But nonetheless, because the beautiful part about this show is I can get the final word here because I got a mute button for you. But no, I would never do that. Danny doesn't have a mullet. Just one of those little harassing things we like to do. And I'm kind of snickering here in the background with it. But Danny, we were talking about the trust factor that a lot of people tend to not have for TTSA. And I think it's too bad. I really do think it's too bad, because I know on a personal level, and I realize this is going to shock many people who are listening there, I do want them to work. I think they have done some good things, but I just have seen too many red flags. And you and I have discussed that. My audience and I have discussed that. I don't need to hammer home those points anymore. But what are we missing? As the general public, what are we missing if we are not supporting this group? Where are we not looking?
I think it's just a big picture, and I think, you know, you don't have to support them. You don't have to trust them. You don't have to believe them, but watch and see what happens. And they're not going to fold up if they get bad comments on the internet. But I do think it is unfortunate, because they're doing so much historic work, basically, and that people aren't able to appreciate it. It's kind of a bummer. But, you know, the UFO community is important. At the same time, they're irrelevant. So, you know, I don't know. And the critiques are okay. And when they become personal and just over the top, they're not. But I would just tell people to wait and see. And maybe something horrible will happen, and maybe a lot of great things will happen. Either way, eventually we're going to find out.
All right. Let's get to some audience questions here. And I apologize. They're not directed at you. They're directed at the questioning about TTSA. Let's go like this. B. Baker is asking, how did Unidentified get renewed with not the best numbers? It must have been funded by something else. What do you know about it, Danny?
I've heard that the numbers were good. I'm no TV expert, but I heard the numbers were very good, and they did well, and they were easily renewed. So I don't know that that's true.
All right. Trip is asking, do you know where the audio from the control tower is for the UFO videos? Has it been released with the color videos of the Tic Tacs yet? Are we going to get those?
The audio of the control tower?
Yeah.
Oh, when they're talking to the pilots?
Yeah, I guess that would be Kevin Day at that point, right?
Oh. Well, Fravor is on record saying there is no more audio or video. Well, actually, no, there was no audio for the Tic Tac. I don't know if that will ever come out. I'm not sure. You know, it may have been not distributed because of Ways and Means or whatever else they say. But yeah, there is no audio for the Tic Tac. There is audio for the gimbal and Go Fast. But I don't know if the audio will ever come out. There's also an HD version of the Tic Tac video. And if To the Stars was able to release it, I'm sure they would. I would put that one on the DOD and the Pentagon and the government not wanting to put it out. But, you know, Fravor said that the HD version of the Tic Tac video, you're able to see the little L-shaped appendages, you know, like the feet coming off of the Tic Tac. And, you know, that would be amazing if we all could see this HD video. But we haven't, and it is extremely frustrating. But that's not on To the Stars. That's on the government.
All right, let's go to a question from John on Twitter, who is asking, in regards to the videos, how is the To the Stars Academy allowed to put their logo on United States Navy videos?
Well, there's versions of them out there with no logos. So I think anyone can upload them to YouTube and put their logos on them. And they are they're public, those videos. So they were already released on the New York Times site. Jeremy Corbell just posted some during the Rogan interview with no logo. So if you want, email me and I'll send you some copies and you can put your logo on there too.
Well, that would be fun. That would be fun. I just find it interesting. That question actually is a good question, because I find it interesting, because if they would be, even though they're public videos, would they still not be owned by the United States Navy?
I'm not sure, the laws of it, but as far as I know, those were released, and Rogan and Corbell were talking about this because Rogan didn't want to show it because he was afraid that YouTube would pull it, and Corbell convinced him that it was okay to show him. So I think they're totally public domain, and I don't think there's any kind of issues like that. But I could be wrong, but that's how I understand it.
All right. B. Baker has another question. He says, Danny, what do you think of the Navy patents that describe a tic-tac-shaped object? If so, is it a drone made by us and not alien?
Those are pretty convoluted. From what I'm hearing, they don't work. Some people think they do. A lot of top scientists think they don't work. That opens up a whole nother kind of debate and set of questions. Why would the Navy release some patents and basically go on record and say that they do work? I'm not a physicist or a scientist or an engineer, so I have to go by people that I think are credible, and from what I'm hearing, that they don't work. So did they put those out there to trick China or what? I don't want to get too conspiratorial. Shout out to Twitter user Jay. He had those before a lot of other news stories did, and I chose to not write about them, and I'm kind of kicking myself for it. And then like a year later, it became like this big story, and we had it the whole time, but I just didn't think there was a lot to it, and maybe I was wrong, because now a lot of people are interested. But that's a really confusing subject, and it's really, really odd that they did that. And, another thing the Navy can do, or these other government agencies, they don't have to make them in the public domain. Like, so why are we even able to see those if they show this crazy technology? Why isn't it, classified? So there's a whole lot of questions that goes with that. And I'm not sure of the answers. Maybe eventually we'll find out, but I don't know. And it's a really crazy subject.
It is a crazy subject. All right, let's move on. Kit is asking, or Catherine, pardon me, she is asking, is the TTSA even relevant?
Are they relevant? I think so. I think they're the most relevant as far as getting the subject to the public. Are they relevant for the UFO community to prove to the UFO community what they already know? Maybe not. But when we're looking at the big picture and trying to get the world on board, I think they're the most relevant group going. I would love it if there was other groups doing more things than To the Stars. And there are some other groups. Valet and Dr. Nolan, I think, are going to come out with some really big stuff, and I'm super excited for that. Jeremy is doing a great job getting on Rogan and with his movies to bring it to the public. But if you're looking at public awareness, To the Stars is the ones that's doing it. They've got the government to admit to ATIP, and it's huge.
All right, let's continue on here. And let's go to Catherine again, who says, to anyone concerned with the employees of TTSA, wouldn't you want people of that prestige involved?
I'm sorry, what was it?
Catherine says, to anyone concerned with the employees of TTSA, wouldn't you want people of that prestige involved?
Oh, yeah, I agree. Right. Yeah, why are we so concerned about these guys having illustrious backgrounds? I'm happy that they're involved for sure.
All right, there's about
there's
about 6 people asking, Danny, and I'm going to ask this, all right? It's in our chat room, about whether or not you are getting paid by the TTSA or any other type of agency to throw your support in behind with the information you are getting.
Totally fair question. I've been asked it before. No, I'm not getting paid at all. I wish I was, and sometimes, but no, I'm not paid at all. And I don't even really make money off my website. So I have a Patreon that's pretty pathetic. And at the moment, I don't even have ads on my website, and I hope to get them on there. I don't have merch yet. I don't have anything, so I'm just doing this, and I'm spending my own money to keep the website going. So no, I'm not paid by To the Stars. I don't speak for To the Stars. I'm just some guy writing, and I'm motivated, and I think they're doing a good job. But I think other people are doing good jobs too, and I just want disclosure to happen, and I want the public involved, and I don't want us to just be on our own all the time. But I'm not paid by anybody, but I'm not offended by that question. That's totally fine.
All right. You know what? I'm just wondering, in regards to the fact that you want disclosure to happen, for someone who hasn't experienced it, why is it so important to you to get disclosure out there?
I don't know. I believe it's real, and a lot of us, we just think, like I said, it's going to change the world for the better. And I've always had a feeling that, like, we don't live our lives like how they should be really lived. Like, we're not taking advantage of stuff. I want everyone to have the knowledge and what's going on, and not that I know everything, but I just want the world to be a better place. And I have a feeling that how we live is just incorrect, and I'm trying to change things for the better. And maybe this is a displaced hope that disclosure will do that, but I think it will. And I know a lot of other people that support this thing, they feel the same way. We may disagree about certain things. I don't know how much climate change is involved. Maybe it's going to be a big deal with disclosure. Maybe it won't be affected at all. But I just want people to know that we're not alone necessarily, and there's more to life, and to live their lives better and maybe get along with each other better, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay, and that makes sense. But I want to get back to this question here, because I know it's been brought up, not in the chat room tonight, but in the past. And I said when I had a guest like you on, I was going to ask this in regards to the fact that John Greenwald from the Black Vault a few weeks ago broke some incredible news. It was written in a story by MJ Benias and Lieutenant Tim McMillan, good friends of this show, on Vice.com, in regards to the United States Navy admitting that they didn't know what the heck those machines were in the videos. They are unidentified flying objects. for all intents and purposes. Whether they're of earthly descent or whether or not, we don't know. But with all the hard work that the TTSA has done in regards to getting the message out, and I want an honest answer with you. Did it catch you off guard that Tom DeLong had tweeted out that was a TTSA story? That they were the ones responsible for trying to take credit for Greenwald's hard work with the FOIA requests?
I didn't see them taking credit for it. I saw them linking Vice. They had that graphic, and it had the Vice story like center at the top. And if you go and read the Vice story, a lot of it was about John, and John did a great job doing that. And so I didn't see them like stealing all this credit. They weren't crediting a bunch of researchers. They were just naming off all the mainstream news stories, and a lot of them included John. So I mean, I can put myself in his position and wanted maybe to get like retweeted or something by To the Stars, but there's a lot going on with that. But they straight up linked a lot of these stories that credited John, so I thought that was pretty cool.
Well, I think it's kind of cool too that they did that, but Tom did allude to it on his page, because I read it. A number of people read it the same way, that that it was all because of the To the Stars Academy this story came out, which simply isn't true. There are other people working it, not just TTSA, and a lot of people found that a little arrogant.
Well, I mean, the FOIA, I guess, was about the To the Stars videos, right? So I think that's what Tom was talking about. He wasn't saying he sent in the FOIA. He was just saying the Navy commented on the To the Stars video, on the To the Stars story. So that's what I think he meant. I mean, there would have been no FOIA if the videos hadn't came out in the first place.
Well, we don't know that, because the way John Greenwald works, whether you love him or hate him, he is someone who is continually pushing for this. And he's been able to get a lot of really cool information over the last 20-some years.
For sure, he has. And, I mean, specifically, there wouldn't have been a FOIA about the Navy videos if the Navy videos weren't ever released. That's what I meant. And To the Stars enabled that to happen, and specifically Elizondo did.
Do you believe Elizondo ran a tip?
Yes, I do. I think it may have been looser than we think, but I'm not really sure about it. But yeah, I think everything he said has been true.
See, I buy Luis Elizondo. Okay, and John Greenwald and I have disagreed on this, and I'm okay with that. Okay, I like to, in my heart of hearts, I know a lot of people who have talked to Lou Elizondo, well over a dozen people that I've talked to who have met with him, say he's a very candid guy who really wants to bring this subject out. And I'm willing to give the guy the benefit of the doubt that he did run the program, because I, on my end, just don't see anything differently. However, what's wrong with coming out and showing that whether or not he held an S1 or an S2 clearance?
I don't know. I don't know the logistics of that kind of thing, and I think probably he's shown everything he's able to show. Also, it's his job, I think, to kind of respond to UFO community critiques. I mean, these guys are really busy. They're in D.C., and Lou's consistently traveling, and it's not like he's on Twitter and he's like, oh my gosh, someone tweeted something about me, I better release a document to respond to it immediately. But I think he's put a lot out, and I think he's probably put out most of what he can. I actually can say that I have seen some documents, and people are probably going to critique me about this because I can't show them to you, but I was shown some things, and that shows that Lou ran the program, and I was shown that personally, kind of like New York Times gets shown certain documents before they run a story. So I've seen some things personally that I can't publish, but I'm very confident about what Lou has said.
Yeah, and I tend to believe that too, and I want to lean that way as well. I know hard to believe for some of the people listening. Yes, Mike, that's another shot at you out there. But nonetheless, it is something that I do believe that he did run the program, and I've been on record for that as well. However, why not just come out and clean? Why not just come out and say that? Show that
he ran the program?
Yeah. Well, not just say it's easy for anybody to say they ran the program. Hell, we got people out there saying they're journalists when they're not. It's easy to self-title, but why not just show? End the public outrage or the query. It would give them a heck of a lot more credibility.
Well, yeah, he has said he's ran the program over and over, and we've seen documentation that's alluded to it. I don't know what all he is allowed to show. It was a secretive program, so he has these NDAs, and you're working with the government, so I don't know exactly what people want him to show that'll prove it, or maybe he isn't allowed to show his ATIP hat that he wore or whatever it was. So I don't know a lot of those logistics. Elizondo would be able to answer that a little bit better, or a lot better than me. But I think he's shown a lot of things, and he's definitely laid it out there. And he's put his life on the line in a lot of ways over the years, and I think he's jeopardized his credibility and life by doing what he's doing. And so I definitely think he's confident in what he's doing, and he has a purpose, and he thinks it's for a greater good. And but I don't know, what exactly do we need to see in order for us to know for sure that he ran it? I guess would be my question. But
hell, give us a business card. Give us a business card, Danny. People want a business card these days.
Yeah. We got people that were contractors or worked at ATIP saying he was there. I think Harry Reid on record, we've seen some of these documents with his name on it. I've seen some things that I can't publish. But, in these emails too, he was running the show when he was doing, when they were getting the videos released. So it's just more wood on the fire here that he ran the program. The Dopser was going through him and his team in order to get the videos released. So, he was the guy doing it. I don't know what else we need. And the thing about it is the public doesn't even questioning this. The only people that are questioning this are some subsections of the UFO community. But, the public at large and mainstream media, they're not questioning it.
Well, the mainstream's never wanted this story, and I'm trying to stay away from that debate tonight because I know I'm right on that one, and I will be cocky about that one. This is where you talk. Are you there?
Oh my bad. The mainstream media, they've blown this story a lot. They've blown it for a lot of years, and we're just getting them on board now. But we need to be cognizant of UFO community / nerdy questions, and I'm one of the nerds, versus really relevant stuff that the mainstream media and the public care about, and it's not always the same. I would just make that point.
I think that there's no truer statement than what you just said right there in regards to it, and this is where it comes back to what we talked about in hour number one with the great divide that this has really brought into the UFO community. And would it help if, and we only got about a minute here, would it help if the TTSA actually started reaching out to the UFO community to get their opinion, or is that too late?
I think they have been. I think they've been doing it more. I think they may kind of get a bad rap on that, but they are reaching out in some ways, and I think they're going to continue to be more vocal. But it's not about the UFO community, and but we're getting some pretty big revelations in the UFO community ourselves that we should be pretty happy about. This
That's very true.
We found out about that. We found out about ATIP and things like that, but. I don't know. I think they're reaching out to the community more than the critics would say.
All right, Danny, you hold on. Hour 3 of Spaced Out Radio with Danny Silva coming up right after this.
A little bit of science, a little bit of skepticism. Add a dash of snark, and you have the makings of Spaced Out Sundays with me, Everett Thieme. Together we will look into the reality of the paranormal with an open eye and rational thought. Oh, did I mention there'll be plenty of woo as well? Your time spent with Spaced Out Sundays will make the night even better. The chat rooms are open, 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, right here at spacedoutradio.com.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio. You can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Looking for something new to push your limits? Look Beyond the Spectrum, a new docuseries featuring some of the best researchers in the world when it comes to everything from UFOs, government cover-ups, and Bigfoot in the forest. Truth seekers like Steve Bassett, Dr. Jeff Meldrum, Richard Dolan, as well as others all chip in to bring their knowledge to you. Beyond the Spectrum can be found on Amazon as well as Tubi TV. Tell us what you think on our Amazon page.
On the first Tuesday of every month, I encourage you to come along for a journey with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You. Together, we will take a look at how to access the highest expression of yourself and change your life. Consciousness, ET contact, health, and wellness, we can talk about it all. So come along for a spiritual ride with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You, only on Spaced Out Radio.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Move over, brother, and let me own Saturday night. This is Rich Giordano, and I'm inviting you to tune on in to Spaced Out Saturdays starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. Eastern, where I'm going to bust open the lids on everything paranormal. Why? Because we want answers, and I'm the guy who's going to deliver those answers to you. Join the chat rooms, and we'll see you this Saturday. Just be there. No, really.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio. At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
We're underway in the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for being with us. Hi to everyone listening in on KDUN AM 1030 in Reedsport, Oregon, KZFX 93.7 FM in Ridgecrest, California, WQEE 99.1 FM in Noonan, Georgia, UPRN 107.7 FM in New Orleans, and down in Dangerfield, Texas, KDNF AM 1560. On the digital side, hi to everyone listening in on Kingdom of Nye Radio and Revolution Radio. Great to have you with us. Don't forget, you can check out all of our archives for free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Alekthonus. Alekthonus is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. If you go to .co right now, that's where we are. We're switching it over to the .com here. It'll probably be active tomorrow sometime. So what you want to do when you're there, you can do a little shopping for some books in our We Read the Night section. Click on the Amazon. You can buy them right there. You can go shopping at our SOR Vault. Sign up for the SOR Space Travelers Club. It's $5 a month. Go for it. And read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire and much more. For the final time tonight, we introduce Danny Silva from the Silva Record. Go to his website, silvarecord.com. It is a great read if you want to keep up to date what's happening with ufology as we speak. Danny, welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Dave. It's great to be here, amigo.
You getting tired yet or what?
No, I'm awake.
Right on, right on. You know, we've discussed and debated a lot about the TTSA tonight. What do you see coming down the pike, say in the next year to 2 years? Are we moving closer to disclosure? Because that is the big word that everybody is saying. Now, a guy like Steve Bassett has been saying it for decades, that it's next year, it's coming. We've been hearing that for 20, 25 years, longer for some if we go back to the 70s. but are we closer to that moment than we ever have been?
Yeah, we're definitely closer. It's a process, we've had confirmation in a lot of ways. I've been surprised about how some of the things have gone down and it hasn't had a bigger impact. I mean, there's still been a huge impact from the New York Times story, but I thought it would have been bigger. I thought the Tic Tac case would have been bigger, and some of these other things. But, and what's coming down the pike, Elizondo was just on Fox News again, talking about metamaterials. So we're going to get metamaterials results, not only from To the Stars Academy, they're also going to come from Jacques Vallée and Dr. Gary Nolan. So that's extremely exciting. I think that's going to be a really big deal. To the Stars also intimated, basically Elizondo did, that they're going to be peer-reviewed, and that's what a lot of people have wanted, because that's what Vallée and Dr. Gary Nolan are doing. Also, they're going to be peer-reviewed in scientific journals. So that's stuff that's going to get the scientific community at large on board, we're hoping. So that's a really big deal. There's going to be a lot more movement, I think, with D.C. and politicians and maybe even governments of other countries. So I'm looking forward to that as well.
Do you think other countries are taking a look at this and saying we got to pick up our game because of what is happening in the United States with this movement now?
There's other countries that have UFO programs. I think the problem is a lot of this stuff is secret. Some of it isn't. There's been various other countries that have had it kind of in the public domain, like France and some of these other places. But I think secrecy is still a big problem. For whatever reason, other countries feel like they have to keep stuff secret. But if Brazil kind of let a lot of this stuff out, I know that they have a lot from Colares Island and other things just over the years that they have. And, of course, I've heard rumors. I don't know if they're true. I've heard that the UK has been threatening to come forward because they've been really silent on a lot of this for decades. And I don't know. I definitely think it does seem like everyone's waiting kind of on the United States and to push the ball forward. And maybe they are. I'm not really sure. But, I definitely think other countries are getting involved. And, everything points to the fact that people think that there's been crashes all over the world. Like, the United States is the only place that's had crashes. So I think there's a whole lot of other stuff. Everyone's talking about how China's working on it, and we know that there's a lot of stuff that's happened in Russia and places like that. So this is a worldwide thing, and it's not just the United States. For whatever reason, the United States has been the forerunners on bringing it to the public, and I'm not 100% sure why, but I'll take it, and I like it.
Trip is asking, in regards to the videos that we have seen so far, do we expect better videos to come out that show the communication audio with the Navy ships? Do we expect colored videos to come out so we could see these craft more clear? Or is there going to be still a big hush in regards to those types of evidence?
That's a good question. I don't know if I would tell people to expect it. I think if it comes out, it would be great. It's not on To the Stars. It's on the government to release these videos. There's actually a blog on my website that I collaborated and interviewed Tyler Rogley from the War Zone, and you can see some of the technology that's going on that the government has and the armed services have to record some of this stuff, and it's amazing. And the videos are very grainy, and that came out. They're better than nothing, but they're definitely not what they should be. Dave Fravor himself has said that there's an HD version, and I would love to see that, and it does frustrate me that we're not able to. But beggars can't be choosers at the same time, and we did get 3 videos out, so I don't know if we should expect them going forward. I think if they get here, we should be happy, but I'm not so sure if it'll happen or not, but we can be hopeful.
What's your opinion of the United States Navy basically telling the U.S. government, we've given you enough information, we're not giving you any more? Were you a little concerned about that?
I'm not aware of that. What happened?
Well, about a month and a half ago, when who is is it Warren? The last name Warren? I'm drawing a blank here on the congressman who is part of the
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, Walker. Walker.
I apologize.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
When he
Walker
went back for the Navy. Yeah, when Mark Walker, just to explain to our listeners, he basically approached the United States Navy saying, we want some more information about these unidentified area phenomena. And the Navy says, no, we've given you enough. We're not giving you any more. In your opinion, Danny, in regards, and let me rephrase the question, to me, okay, from an outsider standpoint, I'm not a military guy. There's nobody in my family who's ever served in the military. But to me, that sounds very, lack of a better term, communistic. Okay, communistic in the fact that we have an elected official who is there for the people, by the people, who is asking a government agency to buck up on some information, and that government agency, being the United States Navy, is saying, yeah, you don't need to know that. The public doesn't need to know that. We're not giving you any more information. To me, that is very concerning, and I know it's been concerning to a lot of people who listen to this show as well. What's your thoughts?
My thought, well, first off, these spokesperson statements, they can't always be trusted. A spokesperson will say something, and then a month later, there'll be a different spokesperson saying something else. So just because Walker got that note back from that Navy spokesperson, it doesn't mean it's set in stone. Was that letter unfortunate? And yes, and we were really excited. I wrote about it when Walker sent that letter in. I thought that was great. But I think the takeaway from that is that we can be happy that politicians are asking the question and they're hounding these people for more information. Yeah.
I agree with you. I agree with you on that, but let's go a little bit deeper on that. Do you not find it concerning, and granted that it was only a memo from a spokesperson for the Navy, but either way, that note has to be signed off by somebody higher up. They just don't make it up themselves. It still has to be signed by someone higher up.
Right. Yeah. I agree with you that memo was unfortunate specifically. I'm so burnt out on spokespeople though. I'm so burnt out on them, and they've contradicted themselves over and over again. So the only thing I can say is that I hope that isn't going to be the case, especially because the Navy's really been at the forefront of letting this stuff out. And it's really interesting. Like, all these videos have been from the Navy. Like, everything's been the Navy, and it hasn't been any other armed services really. So maybe some other armed services will get involved, but my hat's to the Navy because really they've done the most out of all the armed services. But I guess I would tell people to try not to get too depressed about what happened with that response to Walker, and I would say keep hope for hopefully more happening in the future.
Yeah, because I know for myself, I'm Canadian, so I really don't have a say. But for a lot of our listeners who are American, you're American, there's a lot of American people out there who listen to this show. About 79% of our audience is American. You know, I can see where that would be a concern, that my military is withholding this information that could pertain. I mean, yes, you can always use the argument national security, but if this affects what is happening in my country and one of my politicians comes up and asks for information, I shouldn't be denied, even if they keep it private. You know what I'm saying? Even if they keep it
absolutely
private.
I mean, absolutely.
That is very that is frustrating. But on the flip side, we here who live in a land of freedom over here in North America, we look at things like that and say, well, that only happens in communist countries, man, where the military says what can and cannot be done.
Yeah, it's a problem. I mean, there's smoking guns, I believe. There's a lot of smoking gun evidence that's getting sat on and it's not getting released. And I think To the Stars is doing everything they can to get it out. But the fact that it hasn't been released is extremely frustrating. It's been going on for 70 years at least. And we hope it changes. And that's kind of one of the big avenues that people are digging into now with DC and all this other stuff. I mean, there's been some indications that a lot of the info and smoking guns are also in private industry, in these IRADs. is the acronym for them, but like Lockheed Martin or who knows who has it. But yeah, I think that some of the armed services, have smoking guns themselves, and they're choosing not to share them with the public for whatever reason. There's a lot of red tape involved, obviously. But it's extremely frustrating, and that's why it was so exciting to get those 3 videos out and get the ATIP thing going, because it was like a 180 on what's been happening. But there's still a lot of pushback, I'm sure, and there's probably still a lot of people that don't think the public need to know or care about what the public knows, and that's what we're fighting.
Do you believe the public does need to know?
Yeah, definitely, and that's what that's my main goal. And I obviously don't know everything that everybody knows, and maybe there is some really, really horrible things. Maybe there's a lot of great things too, but I think people just deserve the truth at the end of the day, whatever it may be. The Navy released these videos and the world didn't end, and a lot of people didn't even care. But yeah, we need the truth, period. We need the truth out, and that's the goal. And then we can decide how to live our lives. Let's just have the full picture and know what's going on, and then maybe we can change how we live. But until then, we got to fight for it to happen.
Is it about the technology, though, Danny? I mean, we hear so much talk and debate about the metamaterials, the technology of these aircraft, whatever they may be, whether they are of human or alien descent. Is it about that? Because the way I look at it, maybe I'm looking at it completely differently. Well, I probably am. But for me, I want to know about the confirmation of a lot of this history that has gone on, whether it's Roswell or San Augustine or Kecksburg or the Marfa Lights or the Phoenix Lights or whatever it may be. Are they pushing the agenda, they being the military or even the To the Stars Academy, to put the focus on what we are seeing today, or are they trying to deflate or deflect this entire narrative from trying to have people questioning about what really went on in the past, because they may have some tough questions to answer regarding things like Roswell, aliens, and crashed spacecraft, which leads to Bob Lazar and numerous other stories?
I don't think To the Stars is trying to deflect any of that. I think it's a can of worms, and they're opening it more and more. And, when To the Stars first started, there wasn't any mention of metamaterials, which is pretty crazy. So it's kind of insane to think that we've even gotten to this metamaterial point where it's getting talked about on Fox News, to the whole nation. It's pretty insane. Even just a year and a half ago, this wasn't happening. It was the videos at first, and there was no mention of metamaterials. So it came a long way already in these 2 years, and it's pretty crazy. You kind of have to sit back sometimes and just think, Lou Elizondo was on Fox already talking about metamaterials. Tucker Carlson was asking Trump about Lou Elizondo's story. It's pretty crazy. I don't know. I'm pretty appreciative of what's happened so far, and we've come a long way. It's only been 2 years. But, yeah, I think maybe a lot of this is tech related, and they're worried about what China and Russia might have, and some of our adversaries in geopolitics and all this kind of thing. And, I'm not privy to a lot of that. I'm over here asking for it all to come out, and maybe I'm the ignorant one, but I think that it's important. And but I know these guys are also trying to protect our world and our safety and our freedom. So they have a lot of hard decisions to make, and they're probably in a rock and a hard place with it too.
We got about 5 minutes to go. Danny Silva is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. SilvaRecord.com is his website. Danny, we hear a lot of this threat stuff. Okay, there's a lot of talk about threats. All right, that these are a threat to national security, potentially the human race. All right, this is where I get a little confused, because Dr. Stephen Greer, love him or hate him, all right, he says his government sources have all told him that aliens are good, we got nothing to worry about, so on and so forth. Then on the other side, fast forward 20 years later, you have Tom DeLonge coming out saying all aliens are bad, we got to get nuclear weapons in space, so that way we can nuke them when they come to attack us and take us over. And yet shortly after the formation of the TTSA, Tom approached the Free Experiencers group, started by the late Dr. Edgar Mitchell, the sixth man to walk on the moon, and asked to purchase their statistics, which shows that 84% of all ET contactees had a positive experience and would like it to happen again. This is where the confusion, I think, comes in for a lot of people and where a lot of this debate has been created. Do you think it's the government creating that debate, or are these personal agendas that are getting in the way?
Some of it is we're kind of looking at it wrong. Even Greer, he said interdimensionals, I think, could be bad, but ETs aren't, or something like that. And then Tom has admitted that there's good experiences for sure, and that it isn't all bad. So it isn't all one or the other. I think a lot of the threat talk is the government itself. They have to pose it as a threat, as unidentified aircraft in our airspace, in order to get funding and get DC on board with it. As far as whether people's experiences are all good or all bad or somewhere in the middle, I think it's probably somewhere in the middle, but I don't have a horse in the race, and I listen to experiencers that have good stories, and I've listened to experiencers that have bad stories, and I just take it all in, and I just try to report on it. But I think To the Stars knows the whole picture, and the simple fact that they were trying to work with Free, I think is a good sign, and it shows people that they care about experiencers and their stories.
Well, Tom did go on when he was on the Rogan show. That's where he said that all aliens are bad and we got to nuke them. We got to nuke them when they come close. Now, I'm paraphrasing there, so please don't quote me on that. That's where I got that from, was from what Tom had stated on the Joe Rogan show. And to me, I've never heard Tom say that some alien species are good. I've never heard that. I would like to see that. If it's out there, I'll definitely go looking for it. But
yeah, I think it was the Jimmy Church interview where he was seeing people have good experiences with orbs, and then on one side of the world there'll be bad experience with the orbs. But I don't think it's as cut and dry as we might think on that one.
Well, I definitely would agree with that statement, but I just found it very ironic that there he is trying to, play the nuke card up in space. We got to get nukes in space. And on the flip side, he's trying to buy the statistics that show that ET contact has been pretty good for a lot of people, which is ironic, but nonetheless. Danny, we only got about 90 seconds left with you tonight, and I want to say thank you for coming on up. There's a lot of tension that goes on. You and I kind of throw barbs at each other on Twitter every now and again, and on Facebook, and mine are usually correct, yours are not. But nonetheless, oh yeah, I went there. Nonetheless, I want to say thank you so much, my friend. I really do appreciate our conversations, which mostly happen off the record, but I really appreciate it. Do me a favor. Tell everybody where they can find your work.
It's silverrecord.com, of course. You can go to Patreon Silver Record, Twitter Silver Record, Facebook Silver Record, Instagram Danny Silver Record. Thank you for having me on the show. You're my friend, Dave, always. We don't have to agree on stuff. I think we're a good example of people that don't necessarily always agree and are able to get along and be friends and do this thing the right way. Let's all just keep at it and try to get this thing going, and more and more. And it's going to keep happening, and whether it's from To the Stars or from Valerie and Gary Nolan or any other groups, we just need to be supporting anybody that's moving the ball down the field, period.
I appreciate that, Danny, and thanks for being a great guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. An absolute pleasure. And like I said, people can also find your articles by going to spacedoutradio.com. Click on the SOR Newswire. We run Danny's stories all the time in there, so you can find them there as well. Coming up next, we have the SOR Newswire and the Thought of the Day. Stay tuned as we start to bring this thing home.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio, and while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com. We're bringing you something new to the documentary world. Beyond the Spectrum will take you on an historic tour of topics like no other. Sasquatch, UFOs, government secrecy, and more, keeping you on the edge of your seats through the eyes of legendary truth seekers like Steve Bassett, Richard Dolan, Dr. Jeff Meldrum, and Jack Kasher. Head on over to Amazon Prime or Tubi TV and check us out. Please leave a comment for the filmmakers on their film's Amazon page.
A little bit of science, a little bit of skepticism. Add a dash of snark and you have the makings of Spaced Out Sundays with me, Everett Thieme. Together we will look into the reality of the paranormal with an open eye and rational thought. Oh, did I mention there'll be plenty of woo as well? Your time spent with Spaced Out Sundays will make the night even better. The chat rooms are open, 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio, you can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Move over, brother, and let me own Saturday night. This is Rich Giordano, and I'm inviting you to tune on in to Spaced Out Saturdays starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. Eastern, where I'm going to bust open the lids on everything paranormal. Why? Because we want answers, and I'm the guy who's going to deliver those answers to you. Join the chat rooms, and we'll see you this Saturday. Just be there. No, really.
We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Great to have you with us. Remember, all of our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. You can do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. It'll be fully active tomorrow, fingers crossed, where you could do a little shopping at our Spaced Out Radio store. Read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Join the SOR Space Travelers Club. Or pick up some great books by our authors in our We Read the Night section. You can buy them right there. It's a lot of information, a lot of new looks. It's going to be great. Please support us. We would really appreciate you doing that for us. Now, speaking of the news, let's get to it, shall we? The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show, where we get to the weird, the strange, the wacky, and sometimes we just really don't know what is going on. But hey, we're going to go there anyways. Captain Shirk. You don't like the news? Blame Captain Shirk. She's the one who puts it all together for me and does a fantastic job. I do have to say so myself. We're going to start off with scientists listening to recordings made by NASA's Mars InSight lander have discovered a rich haul, although many of the sounds captured turned out to be made by the machine itself. The lander, which touched down in November 2018, is equipped with an ultra-sensitive listening device called the Seismic Experiment for Interior Structures, which was designed primarily to detect shifts in the interior of the planet, dubbed Marsquakes. After an initial and worrying period of silence, the device picked up the noise of its first quake in April this year. Since then, researchers have heard at least 21, perhaps as many as 100 more. Marsquakes, say NASA, was varying in tone and magnitude, but can generally be described as subtle rumbles. The emphasis here, however, is on the word subtle. For seismologists back on Earth to actually make them out, InSight's recordings need to be filtered and played back at accelerated speed. But being a bit on the quiet side is by no means the only acoustic problem the researchers have encountered. Often the chance of detecting a quake is obscured by several other rather loud sounds. One of these is the noise of wind, which could easily swamp the size microphones as it blows across the ground. For this reason, the InSight team now concentrate their quake hunts in the early evenings, when temperatures drop and the breeze, in consequence, dies down a bit. Who would have thought? Mars has earthquakes. Look at that. See, California? You're not the only one. Got a whole Mars planet up there. Going to shake, rattle, and roll with you. Hey, here is a fantastic, really cool story. French researchers say a paralyzed 28-year-old man was able to use a mind-controlled robotic suit to walk for the first time since he experienced a severe cervical spine injury 4 years ago. In a report published in Lancet Neurology Journal, researchers from the University of Grenoble in France, who partnered with the biomedical research center Clinitech, announced that they had developed a whole-body mechanical suit that can be controlled by 2 implants placed on the surface of the brain. The implants let the man, only identified by his first name, Thibault, operate the suit by reading the signals in his sensory motor cortex, the area of the brain that controls movement. While in a laboratory and assisted by a safety harness for balance, Thibault was able to walk again by controlling the exoskeleton with his mind. He trained with researchers for 2 years to make the big moment possible. It was like being the first man on the moon, he said. I didn't walk for 2 years. I forgot what it is like to stand. I forgot I was taller than a lot of people in the room. According to the outlet, Thibault was an optician before he fell while celebrating at a nightclub 4 years ago. The accident injured his spinal cord and left him fully paralyzed, except for minor movement in his biceps and left wrist. He enlisted in a trial at the University of Grenoble in France in 2017. While this is not the first time researchers have attempted to use an exoskeleton to help people with physical disabilities, Professor Alim Louis Benabid, president of the Clinitech Executive Board and Professor Emeritus of the University of Grenoble, France, says the university suit is less invasive than previous attempts. He goes on to say, ours is the first semi-invasive wireless brain computer system designed for long-term use to activate all 4 limbs. Previous brain computer studies have used more invasive recording devices implanted beneath the outermost membrane of the brain, where they eventually stop working. They have also been connected to wires limiting to create movement in just one limb, or have focused on restoring movement to patients' own muscles. Our patient already considers his rapidly increasing prosthetic mobility to be rewarding, but his progress has not changed his clinical status. Either way, this is very exciting because there's a lot of paraplegics, quadriplegics out there who would love to walk again, and let's hope that we can get this done. I think it's fantastic. As Earth began to slowly emerge from the last ice age, many of the creatures who had adapted to life on a frigid planet found it hard to survive. Woolly mammoths were one of the casualties of warming Earth, and it is believed that they were wiped out from the planet around 4,000 years ago. Now, new research pinpoints the location where the mammoths made their last stand, cut off from the rest of the world on Wrangel Island, located in the Arctic Ocean. The last remaining population of the mammoths hung on for some 7,000 years before eventually dying out. As the Ice Age waned, mammoth populations became incredibly isolated, with distinct groups in places like modern-day Alaska, Siberia, and Wrangel Island. The majority of these groups are assumed to have succumbed to rapidly changing environmental conditions. Yeah, who would have thought? In dating the fossil remains of the creatures, the researchers noted that no extreme changes in their composition, which is something that was observed in other mammoth populations that lived elsewhere. This suggests that while some mammoth groups were pushed to the brink of by a shifting environment, the Wrangel Island mammoths enjoyed a relatively stable climate until the end. Researchers believe this indicates that the extinction of the mammoths in this region was due to short-term changes in weather. Freezing rain could have prevented the animals from feeding on ground foliage, and if the mammoths didn't have the fat reserves to sustain that, they may have met a swift end in a very short period of time, even if the overall climate remained stable. Now, scientists go on to say, we think this reflects the tendency of Siberian mammoths to rely on their reserves of fat. Yeah, I wish I didn't have to rely on mine to survive through the extreme harsh Ice Age winters, while Wrangel mammoths living in milder conditions simply did not need to. So I guess that was their last stand. Wrangel Island in the Arctic. How that happens to be whatever it is today, useful information, I don't know, but it is kind of cool. It's one of the most infamous rooms in the world, Chernobyl's Reactor 4 control room. Now, 33 years after the decisions made in that room helped lead to one of the biggest nuclear accidents of all time, touring companies will be able to bring civilians inside the room. Yeah, you get free radiation with it, too. It was inside the control room of Reactor 4 that Soviet personnel would first discover that something was amiss with their reactor. Their incorrect decisions made in that room amplified the disaster, which immediately killed 54 people, but would ultimately cascade into thousands upon thousands of deaths. In 2011, the Ukrainian government opened up Chernobyl as a site for tourists. Even before this announcement, it had been a location for rogue tourists looking to visit one of the world's most infamous sites. But Chernobyl was generally a site of niche interest until last year when HBO's Chernobyl miniseries became a surprise hit. The show's first episode depicts the horror and the incompetent decisions made within the control room. While the show earned criticism from the Russian government, it has also triggered a tourism boom, which operators at Chernobyl reporting attendance increased between 30 and 40% since the show started airing. Since that success, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, I got that right, Volodymyr Zelensky, in the news lately for, well, other things, has declared the site as an official tourist attraction, meaning that the site will see more funding from the state and open up a door of additional trails for visitors, like viewing areas and waterways, until one of those 12-foot wolves comes and eats them up. Sure, I'm sure there's some real freaky animals around there. That's like Jurassic Park around there, don't you think? Well, Zelensky goes on to say, we must give this territory of Ukraine a new life. Until now, Chernobyl was a negative part of Ukraine's brand. It is time to change it. How about we make some Easter eggs for him? Hey there, Vladimir? Vladdy, buddy? I'm Ukrainian. Let's make some Easter eggs, man. Have some garlic and kielbasa. Maybe a few pat of hair. We're all good. Pierogies for all you English-speaking people. We can do this. Let's get some good stuff going there. Some good Ukrainian meals. My grandma might cook. Send her back. She might cook. Actually, she was born in Alberta. But her parents were born out there. Let's see what we can do with that. All right. A woman boarded a Delta flight out of Orlando on Saturday without an ID or a boarding pass, and authorities are trying to figure out how she did it. According to a police report about the incident, the woman was asked to show her boarding pass when she found that she was sitting in another passenger's seat. Several Delta employees, including the pilot, reportedly tried to get her to leave the seat, but she wouldn't budge. She said very bluntly, "I'm not moving." Yeah, Jenny Clemens, the passenger whose seat was taken by the woman, said to the media. The woman claimed she had thrown out her boarding pass, police said. "Who knows where I threw it out? I just threw it out as soon as I got on the plane," the woman said. According to a video showing the incident, the woman was also repeatedly unable to produce an official ID and tried to show a selfie instead. "Ma'am, that's not a government-issued ID. That's a photo," a flight attendant said to the woman in the recording. "Well, this is just as good." "No, ma'am. It's not just as good," the flight attendant reported. She was removed from the flight, police said. All other passengers on the plane had to be screened by security again, and the plane wound up being delayed for nearly 3 hours. In an interview with police after leaving the plane, the woman said she didn't have official identification. She agreed to be escorted out of the airport by police. It is not yet clear how the woman managed to get on the plane without an ID or a boarding pass. Police are now investigating the incident with the help of the FBI. The woman has not been charged with a crime at this time. A Transportation Security Administration spokesperson says the woman had gone through TSA screening. A spokesperson for Delta Airlines apologized to the passengers on the flight in a statement, adding that it will assist law enforcement officials in the investigation. How does that happen? Airports are like locked down. Some lady can just walk onto a plane? Wow. Moving on. This is kind of a sad story. I don't like this one. In the early hours of Saturday morning, rangers at the Khao Yai National Park in Thailand heard loud elephant calls coming from a ravine. When they arrived to investigate, the rangers discovered a grim scene. 6 dead elephants, seemingly killed by a raging waterfall known as Ha-Narok, or Hell's Abyss. No one witnessed the incident, but track patterns at the site, along with the elephants' known tendency to form social close bonds, led park officials to believe that a calf fell over the waterfall and 5 adults died trying to save it. This is not, in fact, the first time that such a tragedy has occurred at the waterfalls. In 1992, a herd of 8 elephants plunged to their deaths there. The national park had previously erected fencing around the creek near the waterfall, but it was not sufficient in this case. 2 members of the herd were discovered alive on a cliff overlooking the waterfalls. The surviving elephants had trumpeted the distress calls that alerted rangers to the deaths. They appeared exhausted and were struggling to climb out of the ravine. Edwin Week, founder of Wildlife Friends Foundation Thailand, tweeted that one is believed to be the mother of the calf that died. Officials left the elephants large amounts of bananas in an effort to try and help them restore their energy. There is no trace of them in the water, so the worry that they drown like the others in the herd is not there anymore. According to the national park, we believe they say that they have brought themselves to safety, but we are still searching for them. Sad news. We need more elephants here. Too bad that happened. And finally tonight, Florida man was charged with aggravated battery after breaking a golf club over his mechanic's head for working too slow. 55-year-old Ronnie Cardenas began yelling at the victim, who was outside Cardenas' home working on a truck. The mechanic told Florida man he could do the repairs himself and began packing up his tools. Cardenas went inside his house, grabbed a 9-iron, according to deputies. Unfazed, the mechanic continued to prepare to leave because he didn't think he was going to hit him with it. As the victim began walking away, he felt a heavy impact and hot pain at the base of his head. He turned and saw a broken golf club in Florida man's hands. The mechanics fled and called authorities. When they arrived, Cardenas was admitted to jail after saying, "Yeah, I nailed him." Who does that? Who nails their mechanic with a 9-iron? What kind of sick Florida man thing is that to do? Should have at least used a driver. You get more distance. Thought of the Day happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air because we love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Day is as follows. Why do you think more people aren't supporting the To the Stars Academy? Catherine, because they call it an academy, yet they are not an academy. Ben, because they are full of it, bankrupt, and only in it for the money. Its new name is To the Bank Academy. Emmett, because there's no dance, music, and acting classes happening there. Stephen, there's more sheep than thinkers. Eric, this whole concept was stolen by experiencers and scientists. This organization was called Internasa. I do believe it can still be found on Google. The real people are still working hard to make a big impact. William, some individuals are cautious and simply waiting for everything to play out, as opposed to what others are doing. Jade, seriously, what have they done so far to prove that they are honest and forthright, let alone their huge connections to CIA? Blah. Once in the CIA, always in the CIA. Grant, look at the backgrounds of many of those in the league with it and sponsoring it. They read like a CIA's who's who. It's a psyop. It picks up a putz or a patsy that the public loves and the young generation will listen to be its voice, a.k.a. Tom DeLonge, and they feed him mixed information, part propaganda, part complete truths to give it credibility. Then once enough people are hooked, they can spin whatever narratives into the genre that they want and use it to debunk actual truths they don't want known and apply fake narratives that gain them ground. It's part of a soft control disclosure, not true full disclosure. It's meant to gain control over the genre. Kelly, I think it's because they keep talking about old news. Also, they keep asking people to fund them. Also, the lack of media exposure. By that, I mean they only have a certain few who they will do interviews with. Tom DeLonge and the majority of everyone else who worked for the place buying into crappy proven hoaxes by the Italian military. Shall I go on? Kim, because they are tired of wasting energy trying to jump at the dangling carrots. Fylth. It seems shady. I would rather hand my money over to a pyramid scheme door-to-door guy until they show us something like an actual craft, an alien, corpse or alive, or any actual proof. It just feels like the same things we already know, just gussied up and slapped with a logo. Becky. I think it is because of all the politicking associated with TTSA. The he said, she said crap doesn't help either. I hope I don't upset anyone by saying this, but I seriously miss the old weekend shows. Yeah. Serena. Because their top levels are staffed by folks from letter agencies like the CIA, because they release photos that they say is a UFO and is really a Mylar balloon, because they are coy about anomalous materials. They are not doing anything for disclosure. They are doing a controlled release, distraction, and disinformation. Tim, to controlling of release of any information, then choosing what media outlets to deal with, ignoring some, favoring others. Cough. George Knapp. Final word goes to Mr. John Greenwald from theblackvault.com, former guest on this show. I love this. Why do you think more people aren't supporting the To the Stars Academy? His answer? Who? Oh, that's powerful. Very powerful, Mr. Greenwald. Absolutely. We absolutely love it. All right. We want to say thank you to everyone participating in the Thought of the Dave today. We really appreciate it. We'll do it again tomorrow on Facebook and Twitter. Thanks to Captain Shirk for putting all of our news together. The SOR Newswire can be found at spacedoutradio.com. She updates it daily, does a fantastic job. Kudos to you, Captain, for getting things going. And, of course, to Danny Silva for coming on in from the Silva Record. Check out his website, silvarecord.com, if you want to stay up to date on what's happening in the field of ufology, especially from the TTSA perspective. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot THAL rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, in your cars, at work, in our chat rooms, on Twitter. Hashtag Spaced Out Radio, Spreaker, the SOR Space Travelers Club on Facebook, and, of course, we have everybody on Revolution Radio as well. We're going to add a new chat room soon for everybody in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, kicking off your week, spending your important time with us, because together, my friends, say it with me, we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Have a good night, everybody. See you tomorrow.